With the latest chapter of the One Piece manga opening up the eyes of the community to what I and many other Boa fans have been saying for years now, Boa's strength has actually been put into question in a good light now, instead of it being a negative light, as the community wonders where she actually stands in terms of strength inside of the verse, which then allows me to finally make this video after a year. So strap in, because I'm about to get real in depth with this video. But before I do jump into the video, if you guys do enjoy content like this, you know what to do. Hit that like button and subscribe, as I do post content like this regularly, and to be honest, it's a win-win. You guys show me love and support, and I give you that too in the form of videos. Whether it's One Piece, other anime, or just fiction in general, in due time I'm covering it, so be there when I go there. But I feel like I've rambled on long enough, so I'll jump straight into the video and fully explore how strong Boa Hancock really is. Now, as I said in the intro of the video, it's actually been a year since I have fully covered Boa Hancock's strength. Now, it was actually one of the first videos that I uploaded on this channel, but I mean, I haven't really revisited it since I've been waiting for it to appear again, but I feel like this is the perfect time. Now, while that video was kind of good for Boa scaling, number one, it's very outdated, as in, like, just overall, it's just an outdated video. And second of all, I believe that I can just explain it better here. So, strap in. Now, the main reason I'm even talking about Boa this week is mainly due to what happened in this chapter. And that is with the Kuja pirates running into the Roger pirates and then their whole skirmish there. Now, I know everybody is going to be pointing out the thing with Shaki and Roger, but before we even get there, there is one thing that I do want to point out, and that is the fact that the Kuja pirates were even strong enough to be even in contention with the Roger pirates. Now, I know you can view it from a way of you just being like, oh, well, the Kuja pirates were just there because they were extremely pretty and a lot of the Roger pirates just fawned over them. I mean, yeah, that is the case, but when you actually look at the Amazons and how they actually fight, it would make total sense as to why they were even banging with the likes of the Roger pirates. Another thing I do want to talk about as well is the fact that Glorissa was recruited onto the Rocks pirates. And the reason this is key is because, as we saw in the last chapter, he had basically assembled his entire crew, but he then felt like he then needed Glorissa for some reason. That is why I feel like their power and their strength overall really does need to be looked into. And so before I do get into that, I'm gonna obviously talk about the skirmish with the Roger pirates. Now, as we all know inside of the chapter, Roger was there for Shaki, and obviously we saw her go and fight him. We saw her fight Gabon, and she took them down really easily, and that's because they were in love with her. Now, that is obviously a bit of a gag, and we do know that if those two were to actually fight seriously, it would most likely go in Roger's favor. But what does need to be brought up here is the fact that they fawn over her. Now, this is weird. I know, like, if there was no context behind this, you'd be like, okay, whatever, what does that even mean when you go try to scale it back to Boa? But what makes this extremely dangerous for people is the fact that Boa can make you infatuated with her, and this boosts her power. Now, when we all used to argue about Boa's strength, people used to first start off by saying, would the top tiers even be infatuated by her? And so with this chapter, it now shows us that yes, the top tiers aren't all like Luffy, so yes, they can be infatuated by her. And so even though that was the basis of a lot of the arguments, that has now been taken out. And so what you then fall back on is, okay, well, if that's the case, then doesn't Haki nullify her devil fruit? It doesn't. And so from this one interaction alone, it has shown the whole community that Boa is actually a real threat. Although many people may want to say she's not, and that she struggles with many people that I'm obviously going to get into later, that is just not the case. So from one interaction alone, we can immediately rule out a lot of the counter arguments that you may use against Boa. Now, there's obviously the one where you distract yourself by doing something, and that is very, very possible. What people don't actually know is that that is only for her love beam, and that is only for her to completely petrify you without touching you physically. You see, Boa has then shown the ability to get rid of pacifista, people that don't have any emotions. So you know what that means. Boa has also petrified weapons, and 99.9% of the weapons inside of One Piece don't have any of emotions. I mean, you can say wills and some sort of things can match up, since, you know, certain swords that are meant to be cursed do have certain abilities and do obviously want to choose their owner and whatnot, but that's besides the point. That doesn't really stop them from being petrified. And so essentially what Boa has shown to us is that as long as she can touch you, you can be petrified. So what her strength really comes down to isn't about how hard she hits, isn't about many other things that you do have to factor in with a lot of her top tiers. The only thing that you do really need to factor in with her is her speed. Now I'll get into where she ranks in strength and just how you're meant to evaluate her whole abilities and whatnot in the end, but for now I want to shift on to Clarissa being on the Rocks Pirates and what that means for Boa. Being on the Rocks Pirates really does actually speak volumes to how strong the Kuja Pirates were, because as we all know, she was then obviously taken off of the sea and Shaki was then replaced by her due to her illness for Roger. And essentially what the story is telling us is that as soon as she then became fit to be a pirate again, Rocks went out for her. That means that, and it was implied before, but her being the Empress does mean that she was stronger than every other Kuja pirate, and it's speculated, and well, Shaki kind of does imply herself that she was pretty strong in her prime. And so what does that make Clarissa? And this really does show us that Clarissa's strength is something that you're not meant to scoff at. You see, maybe if she was recruited in the beginning, where you had people like Stussy and whatnot, that would make more sense. I mean, he did recruit somebody like Whitebeard, and Stussy is a commander level character from what we've seen. We've seen her take out Lucci and Kaku when she's able to get the upper hand on them. But when you already had all those people in that crew, like Whitebeard, Shiki, Silver Axe, all these different people, Kaido, Big Mom, and then you decide to go out there and get Clarissa herself, in my eyes, that speaks volumes. That speaks highly of Clarissa. And so I keep talking about Clarissa, but what does this all mean for Boa? Now the reason I keep bringing up Clarissa and Shaki and the old Kuja pirates is because Boa, from what the story is trying to portray to us, is that Boa is going to be better than them. That's just how it is. Boa's devil fruit alone makes her a threat to that magnitude. Now adding on the abilities that she does have then makes her even more powerful, and that is why she should then be feared. You see, when you have somebody that walks around with a devil fruit that literally weaponizes one of the greatest things about her, and then on top of that, her island is known for having warriors that can bang with the Roger Pirates, as I doubt they're gonna then stop teaching their kids all the stuff that they were doing back in the day. And as we all know, they did have armament haki, and even Boa's sisters had advanced armament haki, with Boa herself then having Conqueror's haki as well. All of these things you do need to factor in. Now whether Clarissa and Shaki had Conqueror's haki is unknown and will probably be shown, but with the two of them possibly having it, and I'm going to bet more Clarissa having it than Shaki, that is something that we do need to look out for. And if Clarissa has advanced Conqueror's haki, I mean, at that point it's just a done deal for Boa. Now even though I'm propping up Boa to be extremely strong, there are things that you may look at and put a question mark on it, like her whole interaction with Kobe and Blackbeard. Now one thing I'm going to say is that it's clear Kobe was way out of his depth there, and Blackbeard showing up was the perfect way for him to get out of that situation. Well, Kobe is a literal main character in the story and is going to be extremely important, and honestly it was way too early for him to bang with Boa. That is why Oda writ the situation out to be like that, and that is why Blackbeard went there. I mean, to be honest, the whole situation was just a whole nothing burger, to be honest. It was kind of a way for Kobe to then get onto Blackbeard's island. That's how it really went down. That's how you know it wasn't Kobe's time to fight Boa, and it wasn't Boa's time to fully unleash her strength on a very not well seasoned and not matured enough Kobe. It just wasn't a situation prepped for the both of them. It was a complete mismatch, and that is why Oda had to have Blackbeard go in there, and that is why Blackbeard quite literally had to sneak her. Blackbeard himself says, maybe if you'd have thought, your beauty would have been too much and you may have overpowered me, mainly because of your devil fruit, and that is her devil fruit alone. Somebody with the ability to cancel out devil fruit abilities is saying, I may not have been able to do it. Another thing that's great to mention is that if Blackbeard is saying that he may not be able to cancel it out, that means that if she shot a love beam at him with the Yami Yami no Mi active, it may not have cancelled it. That's something to note. It could be me waffling there, but I do think that is something that you should have in the back of your mind. Why? Because, I mean, Blackbeard is a bit of a waffler, but I think in this situation he just wasn't talking out of his ass. Now, this is definitely not to say that Boa can defeat Blackbeard outright. No, in terms of strength, Blackbeard eclipses Boa. But it's to say that Boa has a fighting chance against all top tiers just because of her devil fruit. We don't even have to factor in the rest of her abilities. It's just that if Boa can land a clean hit on you or get you, you are done. Now, originally this does seem like a bit of a toss-up, but then when you start to look at the things that the story is dripping in here and there, this is where you then get to see that, okay, even without her devil fruit, Boa can be extremely formidable. Now, another thing I will talk about is Boa's sisters being bested by Luffy. Nah, I won't lie here. My main explanation for this is just gonna be story. I mean, we literally saw Crocodile go from being beaten by a way weaker Luffy to then being able to become a commander level threat. Like, I'm not gonna lie to you, anything from pre-timeskip where it has Luffy and he's in a very, very tough situation and the story is begging him to win, especially with her sisters portraying that they have advanced armament types, I don't think anybody's gonna sit here and question me saying that it was a fluke fight. If you really look back at it in retrospect, the fight is not a real fight. Another thing people like to throw in with Boa is the fact that she struggled with Smoker when she quite literally no-diffed him. She broke his weapon and was just playing at him, telling him to move on about his day. Like, it wasn't really that much of a fight. I don't know why people like to constantly bring it up like it was something big. Smoker didn't hold a candle to her and she completely no-diffed him for Luffy. So with me listing out how Clarissa and the old Kuja Pirates does affect her strength, me going over the certain things throughout the story that may make you question her strength, where does she actually rank at in terms of strength? Now, for us to actually figure this out, I'm going to talk about the things that she does have, the possible things that she could have, and then I'll rank her, and then past that point, how she will affect the story due to her standing. Now, as we know, Boa has the infamous Mera Mera no Mi, and this obviously allows her to be strong by itself. Now, this ability can be improved upon, and I'll explain how you can fully unlock it. But next up, she does have, now at the bare minimum, Boa has advanced Armament Haki, Observation Haki, and Conqueror's Haki. Now, this is her base for all of her Hakis, as we did see her sisters using Armament Haki at an advanced level, and we did see her sisters use Observation Haki. Now, Conqueror's Haki is something that Boa is stated to have, and so this is where you then need to build off of this. Now, her having Future Sight in any way, for me, I don't think she has it. I don't think she will get it, and I'll explain why I don't think she'll get it, because I truly do believe that if she ever did get it, it would be over for the verse. And for Boa having Conqueror's Haki, this opens up a lot of doors for her. You see, Boa by herself right now is extremely strong. Me personally, I have her in the top 20 by itself, and that is me actually lowballing her a little bit. Now, when you add advanced Conqueror's Haki, that is where her ranking shoots up, and this is where you then have to undeniably put her, in my opinion, somewhere in the top 10. Now, the reason I say this is because her devil fruit alone, as I've been saying time and time again, is really strong, and we know that when it gets to those levels of strength, the people up there, their overall stats are insane. Now, the stat we do need to focus on for Boa is speed. As I said in the beginning of the video, the rest of her stats don't really mean much. I mean, it can mean much in a bubble, like say for instance she doesn't want to use a devil fruit, or say for instance a devil fruit is cancelled for some reason, then the rest of her stats then become applicable, and that is when you then have to look at them. But without it, all she really needs to look up on is her speed. With her speed being put into here, this is when we then need to see how fast she is. Boa is reliant on her speed. To be honest, I don't really see Boa as some sort of tank actually. I see her more as somebody that if she touches you, she wins, but if you touch her, you may have a massive possibility of winning. And this is why I'm saying her speed is a massive indicator to where you should rank her at. You see, if Boa is able to tag even the fastest inside of the verse, that is where you then have to put her in conversations that a lot of people will be uncomfortable to put her in. Why? Because if she's able to tag you, as I've explained before, she can destroy certain things about you. For instance, she can petrify your hand, turn that into stone and possibly shatter it. If she's able to, she can one-shot you by just kicking off your head. And so that is why when we talk about Future Sight for her and we talk about Advanced Conqueror's Haki for her, this is where she then becomes super uncomfortable for many people to talk about. Because if you're somebody with such a busted devil fruit like that, and then she has the stats to back it up on top of that, it's over for the verse at that point. But with all that being said, where would I rank her at in terms of the verse right now? Well, I would rank her, as I said before, in the top 20. I do believe that she can fluctuate depending on what order shows of her next, but I truly do believe that if she does live up to what her predecessors were doing, then Boa is definitely going to be in the top 20 and can possibly even get higher. Now, if she's able to fully realize her strength and then add on Advanced Conqueror's Haki at bare minimum, we're talking about top 10 talks. And some can even make a suggestion to top 5. That sounds very uncomfortable for a lot of people, but when you're talking about somebody with an extremely hack space ability like this, it can occur. But how would she unlock that future strength, or where would we even see her next? Now, after this flashback, I truly do believe that, and especially with what the Holy Knights are doing right now with the Gorosei and whatnot, I do believe that Boa is going to be extremely pivotal. And the reason I say this is because she has an ability that even without Advanced Conqueror's Haki can stop the Holy Knights. Petrification is something that stops you in place. You can't move from there until Boa says so, and so what she can do is petrify the Holy Knights and the Gorosei. And I think this is probably going to be one of the abilities that may come up later that will be put into a situation where they may either have to go after Boa for some reason, or Boa will join up with the main cast and she will then use her ability for good. And through this, her Advanced Conqueror's Haki can be shown. Boa then has two ways of dealing with the Holy Knights and just the greater threats in the world. She can even petrify them, or she can just destroy them outright. She is somebody that is extremely versatile, and I do believe that her kit alone is something that Emu should definitely look out for. And I do believe that when it comes down to the end of the story and whatnot, she would definitely be one of the characters that Oda is going to put a heavy focus on, because I think she is perfectly built for what is going to occur. And so by the end of One Piece, I wouldn't be surprised if we look back on the story and say, yeah, Boa was definitely the strongest woman in the entirety of One Piece. But yeah, that's the end of the video. Hope you guys enjoyed this video, as I did enjoy making it, because Boa is one of my favorite characters. Genuinely, I never actually understood why people underrated her. I never got it. Never really did. I mean, she has like everything built, like pre-made to be a top tier. So I don't know why people are like, oh no, I think she's kind of like, can we not? Like, certain characters you can like downplay, but like there's certain characters that are so like in your face. Like Boa is one of them. But yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this video, and thank you for the support. So yeah, I love you all. I shall see you guys next video. Goodbye.